This strange mixture may not look dangerous at first, but once it touches a cloudy headlight, the transformation starts almost immediately. Today I'm going to show you why so many people are shocked by what this combination can do. Welcome back to Dan Fix. Hi, I'm Dan. Do most people really need to spend hundreds of dollars replacing headlights once they become yellow and cloudy? Today we're going to test a mysterious mixture made from simple household materials and see whether it can truly restore clarity and brightness to this old headlight. So let's start with the mixture itself. First, I spray some WD-40 into a small bowl. Then, I add toothpaste and slowly mix everything together until the texture becomes smoother. And finally, baking soda goes in. At first, it still looks extremely simple, almost too simple to work on something as expensive as a car headlight. But each material here actually has a different purpose. Toothpaste contains very fine abrasive particles that help polish oxidation from plastic surfaces. Baking soda helps break down stubborn yellow buildup and old contamination sitting on the lens. And WD-40 helps loosen dirt, displace moisture, and reduce friction during sanding later. Now let's move to the headlight itself. This plastic lens has become heavily oxidized over time. Years of sunlight, UV exposure, rain, and road debris slowly destroy the outer protective layer. The clear plastic begins turning yellow. The surface loses transparency, and eventually the headlights become cloudy enough to reduce visibility at night. Now I use masking tape to divide the headlight into two sections. One side stays untreated. The other side gets the mixture. This comparison is very important because small improvements are difficult to notice while working. But side-by-side results reveal everything clearly later. Now the mixture gets brushed slowly across one half of the lens. Long overlapping strokes. The cloudy plastic immediately starts looking wetter and darker as the coating spreads across the surface. Now I place paper towels directly over the coated area. This helps hold the mixture against the plastic longer so the ingredients have more time to soften the oxidation layer. Now we wait about 30 minutes. And honestly, this waiting stage matters more than most people think. If you rush directly into sanding too early, the surface usually becomes uneven because the oxidation layer hasn't softened enough yet. 30 minutes later, it's finally time to begin restoring the surface. We start with 800 peso sandpaper. Before sanding, I spray water directly onto the headlight to keep everything wet. This is called wet sanding. Water helps reduce heat buildup and carries away tiny plastic particles during sanding. Now the sanding begins slowly from top to bottom. Straight, controlled movements. No rushing. If you move too aggressively here, uneven sanding marks become difficult to remove later. P800 is considered fairly aggressive for plastic restoration. Its main purpose is removing the damaged oxidation layer from the surface. And if you look closely while sanding, the water running down the lens starts turning milky white. That cloudy liquid is actually oxidized plastic being removed little by little. Now, the mixture we prepared earlier also starts helping during this stage. The toothpaste and baking soda continue acting like fine polishing abrasives, while the WD-40 helps reduce excessive friction between the paper and the plastic lens. Now we move to P1500 sandpaper. Before sanding again, I apply another layer of the mixture across the headlight surface. The texture spreads more smoothly now because the damaged outer layer has already been partially removed. Now the sanding rhythm continues slowly from top to bottom, and immediately this stage feels different. The movement becomes smoother. The friction becomes lighter. P1500 is much finer than P800. So instead of aggressively cutting into the plastic, it begins refining the sanding marks left behind from the earlier stage. This is where the transformation really starts becoming visible. Even through the water, more light already reflects through the lens again. By the way, where are you watching from today? And in your area, are there many repair garages nearby, or do people usually wait a long time and spend a lot of money for headlight restoration? Because honestly, many garages use a process very similar to this: progressive sanding. Surface refinement. And final polishing. Now I apply another small amount of toothpaste directly onto the surface before starting with P2000. And there's an important reason for using the finest sandpaper during the final stage. P2000 is no longer focused on removing heavy damage. Its purpose is refining the surface and reducing the tiny sanding scratches left behind by the earlier grits. This is what helps restore transparency instead of leaving the lens looking frosted or rough. Now the sanding movements become lighter and smoother, long, gentle passes with plenty of water across the surface. At this point, the headlight finally starts looking alive again. The reflections become sharper, the yellow haze fades away more and more. And honestly, this is usually the most satisfying part of the entire restoration process, because now the difference becomes impossible to ignore. Now the headlight gets washed completely clean with water, then dried carefully using a towel. And finally, we compare both sides directly. The untreated side still looks cloudy yellow and dull, but the restored side already reflects light much more clearly. Now for the final finishing step, I spray WD-40 onto a paper towel and wipe the restored surface carefully. And the difference becomes visible almost immediately. The surface suddenly looks deeper, darker, and dramatically shinier. The remaining haze fades even more while the lens begins reflecting light almost like new again. So, what do you think about this restoration trick? And where are you watching from today? I'd really like to hear what methods people use in different areas around the world. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like and subscribe because there are still many more useful DIY repair ideas coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.